Most writing assignments in college require that you have a clear thesis sentence stated in your paper. This video explains what a thesis sentence is and how to form a clear thesis. A thesis sentence is one complete sentence, not a fragment, that states the purpose of your writing assignment. It is the nutshell version of what your paper is all about. Normally, it is one sentence, not two or more unless you are writing a substantially large paper. Again, a thesis sentence should be a sentence, not a paragraph. If you find that you are writing a paragraph, then that means your topic is too broad and you need to narrow it. The thesis must clearly connect to your assigned topic, and it should be located in the introductory paragraph of a writing assignment. There are two forms of thesis sentences, general and three-point. You may have learned how to write a three-point thesis in high school or college prep classes. However, in college classes, normally a general thesis is preferred. The three-point thesis will often repeat the points you will discuss in your paper. Here's an example. The main character finds many barriers blocking her need for independence, such as her parents, her insecurities, and her finances. The same sentence can easily be rewritten to form a general thesis by removing references to the points you will discuss in the paper. The main character finds many barriers blocking her need for independence. The general thesis is better than a three-point thesis because otherwise your writing can start to sound repetitive. How do you create a thesis sentence? A good start to developing a thesis is to first come up with a question. Very often, you may receive writing prompts from your instructor that are already written as questions. If not, you can think of some questions for yourself as you read the text you have been assigned to write about, or as you conduct research on the topic you are going to write about. As you read and questions come to mind, write these down so you can refer to them later when you are ready to create a thesis. Another easy way to come up with a question is to look in your textbook at the end of an assigned reading that is related to your writing. For example, if you were to write about the story Salvation written by Langston Hughes, and this story is in one of your books used for class, look at the pages that follow the story. You will probably find questions there that the editor of the book provided. Now you need to turn the question into a statement. A question is not a thesis statement, so some minor rewriting of your question is required. You can do this by either simply changing the format of the question, or sometimes you can answer the question. Here's an example of how easy it can be to transform a question into a statement that you can use as a thesis sentence. Question: how did the adults' reactions in the story affect Hughes' interpretation of the events? Statement: the adults' reactions in the story affects Hughes' interpretation of the events. See how easy that was? All I had to do was remove the first few words of the question, how do, and change the question mark at the end of the sentence into a period. This thesis now suggests that you are going to discuss how and why the adults' reactions affected how Hughes understood the events in the story. Once you have the thesis formed and you are ready to write about your first draft, you need to make sure that the thesis is located somewhere in the introduction of your paper. Depending on the length of your paper, normally you will have one paragraph at the beginning that introduces the topic you plan to write about. This paragraph is where the thesis should go. While it can go anywhere in this paragraph, many writers prefer to end with the thesis sentence because it makes it easier to transition into the second paragraph of the writing assignment. Finally, here are some important thesis tips. The thesis sentence must clearly connect to topics assigned by your instructor. Even if you have a good thesis sentence, your grade can severely be affected if you're not writing on topic. When in doubt, ask your instructor. Don't try to write long and complex thesis sentences. Keep them clear and to the point. Develop your thesis before you start writing. If you do not have a thesis, you don't have an organized paper, so that's a good place to start. Once you have your thesis, make sure the body of the paper clearly supports it with paragraph topic sentences and evidence that supports these topic sentences. Stay on topic. Do not write information that is not directly related to the thesis you provided.